Okay, do you want to break 37 minutes and 30 seconds for 10K? Sounds tough, right? I'm going to show you exactly how to simplify your training and just implement one interval session per week in order to smash that goal. But why should you listen to me? Because when I started running, I couldn't even run for 400 meters. Then I got to a point where I could run 10 kilometers without stopping, and that would take me more than 60 minutes. And then I put sessions into place exactly like these and quickly got to 39 minutes 50 and then way faster once I learned the consistency and how these sessions compound over time to make you a completely different athlete. But let's break it down. 37 minutes and 30 seconds is exactly 3 minutes and 45 seconds per kilometer. So we want to get incredibly comfortable at running over the ground at 3 minutes and 45 seconds. But why 37:30? It's likely if you can do a 10K in that, it's only a matter of training like it is with most things, but if you can run that pace for 10K, you can quite comfortably run a marathon in less than 3 hours. And I'd go one step further than that, and this is a pro tip. I knew that if I could run back-to-back 10Ks in 3 minutes 20 per kilometer, so 33 minutes and 20 seconds, so I could do 2 times 10 kilometers in that pace, I could hold that for an entire marathon, hold that 3 minutes and 20 seconds for the whole marathon and run 2 hours 21, which is exactly what I did. Now, before I give you the plan, the reason why this works and it's so simple is because this progression is designed to build your endurance and confidence. So by gradually increasing the interval distance while holding the same pace, you'll be able to sustain your target pace for longer and longer. So the weekly intervals not only improve your speed, but also act as a mental test. You'll know exactly where you stand every week and feel prepared for race day. But what to do the rest of the week? Don't overcomplicate it. You're going to get the majority of the super compensation, the majority of the improvement from these interval sessions that I'm about to give you. The rest of the week, you want to factor in a rest day. Always have a rest day. Let your body reset so it's ready to go again. And that will help the longevity, but also the sustainability of the entire training schedule. You also want some easy and recovery runs, not only to enhance the recovery and get you ready to go either fast or far again, but also to build that aerobic base. Then you want a long run with the sole purpose for that long run, especially initially, of you building time in zone 2 so that you're able to build that endurance, which is nicely going to feed into the rest of your running. So here's the plan, and here's the beauty of the plan. It's simple, progressive, and effective. One interval session per week is all you need for this approach. Every week, we're focusing on intervals that get progressively longer while maintaining that 3 minutes and 45 seconds per kilometer, that target pace that we're aiming for. Now, if 3:45 per kilometer and aiming for that 37:30 for 10K is too far a step for you right now, then you can adjust and do exactly these sessions, but to your target times. So where should you be right now in order to aim for this 10K time? I'd want to be at the point where you can run 18 minutes and 45 seconds, exactly 3:45 per kilometer pace for 5K. I'd say that if you're in that position, or even a little bit slower, then with a good training plan for 10K and specifically these interval sessions, you're there or thereabouts. So here are 7 interval sessions that will help you get there. And as a constant, consistently keep 60 seconds as a rest in between so that you're focused within that 60 seconds, getting your breathing under control and bringing your heart rate from high during the rep to low, recovering, knowing that you're going again soon in the next rep. Session number 1, 20 times 500 meters. Now it sounds like a big session, and it is a big session. 20 times 500 meters with just 60 seconds rest is as hard or as easy as you make it. But if you're running those 500 meter reps at 10K pace, at goal 10K pace, this should be well within your capability. So run those at 3:45 per kilometer, 60 seconds rest in between, and you're building already 10 kilometers of volume at your target race pace. Session number 2. Now this is a great confidence booster. 10 times 1 kilometer with 60 seconds rest in between. And again, we're aiming at that 3:45 pace. Now, if you're not able to do 10 times 1 kilometer at 3:45 pace at 10K pace, maybe you want to start with 6 and then get to 8 and then 10. And by doing that 10 times 1 kilometer repeats at your 10K target pace, again, loads of confidence built. You're building that volume of you running fast over the ground at your race pace. Session number 3. 8 reps only, so down from 10 reps, and we're doing a little bit more volume, a little bit more distance on each individual rep. We're still running 10 kilometers, so it's 8 times 1.25K. And again, what that's doing is helping you build confidence going gradually further in that rep length, but you're still covering 10 kilometers at race pace. Very, very important. Session 4. Now we're going to bring the total volume of the session down from 10 kilometers to 9 kilometers, and you will feel that 10% difference. And what we're going to do is just 6 reps. And again, we'll notice that we're only doing 6 reps, not 10 reps or 8 reps or even 20 reps. 6 times 1.5K. And what those 1500 meter reps do for you is, again, build loads of confidence at you going gradually further. So less reps, almost the same volume, just 10% less at 9 kilometers, building a lot of time again at target 10K pace. So we're really getting moving here. And initially we're doing those 500 meter reps and then quickly going up to kilometer reps. And now we're at 1.5 kilometer reps. So we're gradually increasing that rep whilst keeping the volume that we're running at race pace the same. So it's building our confidence. Now I'm giving you these sessions to do in your own time. So if this is week 1, the 500 meter reps, week 2, the kilometer reps, and then in order for you to do 1.25 kilometers or 1.5 kilometers, that takes you a bit of extra time and some different sessions in between, so be it. We're trying to get to a big goal here, and ideally it's a goal that's far enough away so it excites you, it keeps you honest, and it keeps you disciplined in the training, because you know if you skip the training, you're not going to hit your target. But let the training come to you. Don't chase these paces and don't chase the sessions. What it should feel like is it feels pretty comfortable for you to do 10 times a kilometer. Yes, you feel like you're pushing, but you're in control of the 10 reps, and you feel like you could do an 11th and 12th rep, ideally. That's how you should feel when you finish these interval sessions. So then when you move on to the 8 times 1.25K, it's a natural progression, and it feels comfortable for you to make that leap. Session number 5, big session now, and we're starting to motor forward. 5 times 2 kilometers with only 60 seconds rest in between. So those reps are 7 minutes 30 as we're working at 345 per kilometer. You only get 60 seconds rest in between to control your breathing before you go again and bring your heart rate from high to low. Now again, it should feel like a natural progression to go from those 1500 meter reps, those 1.5K reps, to 2 kilometer reps. If you get to, let's say, 3 times 2 kilometers and you're watching your heart rate climb and it seems like it's not sustainable for you to hit that 4th and 5th rep, instead of chasing the session, what you can do is this. You can either chalk it up and say, you know what, I tried to do 5 times 2 kilometers, I got to 3 times 2 kilometers, still a good session, 6 kilometers worth of volume at my target race pace. Maybe I'm a bit fatigued today, maybe I didn't sleep great, maybe my diet hasn't been perfect over the last 3 days, for example. Or if you're feeling like you've got the energy, but you haven't got the energy for these longer reps, what you can do is 3 times 2 kilometers and then 4 times 1 kilometer. So all of a sudden the rep length comes down, it feels more manageable, and although your heart rate is going up in that initial kilometer, in that initial period of the kilometer, you're still able to use those 60 seconds rest in between to get the total volume of the session to 10 kilometers, exactly what we're going to do on race day. Those are 2 great options for you in order to execute the session. Session number 6, magic session, 3 times 3 kilometers. So you're only dealing with 9 kilometers, 10% less than what you've been used to. There's only 3 reps. And you're trying to execute each one of those 3 kilometer reps in exactly your 345 target pace with only 60 seconds rest in between. It's a brilliant confidence booster to all of a sudden go from 2 kilometers to 3 kilometers rep. Yeah, there's less reps, but you're still doing almost the volume that you're going to do on race day at your race day pace. Final session, Session number 7, and I love this session because there is nowhere to hide, and it will find you out if you've not done the training and if you're not prepared to handle this session. This session is 2 times 5 kilometers with 60 seconds rest in between, and we're aiming for that 3:45 per kilometer. Now, I'll often get asked at this stage in the comments, is it not too big of a session to do 2 times 5 kilometers for a 10-kilometer runner at that 10K pace? It is a big session, but it stands to reason that if you can't do 2 times 5 kilometers with 60 seconds rest in between at 10K pace, how are you going to sustain that? Even with fresh legs after the taper, how are you going to sustain that for the race itself, for the 10K race? So I would go into this session knowing that you're on fatigued legs, knowing that you're on your training legs, and once you get that taper to freshen up your legs, and you've got that race day energy, you've got that extra competitive nature, if you can execute this 2 times 5 kilometers with 60 seconds rest in between, you're in a great place to execute your target time for the 10K. So those are the sessions. Now, where a lot of people fall down is they'll finish the training plan, and then the very next week, they'll go and try to run as fast as they possibly can for 10K or a marathon or whatever it is they're training. Don't forget the taper and the power of a taper. You need to experiment with this. For some people, it's a week. For some people, it's up to 3 weeks. For me, it's exactly 10 days. I've worked out that on 10 days of reduced volume, but keeping the intensity the same, I'm good to be able to run as fast as I possibly can, whether that's a 10K or a marathon. It makes total sense. And what that will look like for you is that you're reducing that interval session. You're reducing your long run. So if you're at a 90-minute long run, then you can bring that back to 60 minutes. Keep it at exactly the same effort level as the previous runs. With the interval session, if you're up to 2 times 5 kilometers, you can bring that back and maybe do 6 times a kilometer, or maybe even 4 times a kilometer. The point there is to keep that zip in the legs whilst freshening up. It's a big factor in success. So that's it. Just 1 interval session per week, progressively building your endurance and speed, supported by the easy runs, the recovery runs, and long run. This plan is simple, it's manageable, and it's effective. Trust the process and you'll smash that 37:30 goal. I hope that video helped you. Remember, it's only one way that you can get to your goal. Good luck, and I hope you hit your target. But let me know, what is your current time for 10K and what is your target time?